Hey everybody, this is Brittany here with Surfing Waves of Light. Thank you so much for being here today. I haven't channeled or brought through a message in a while. I have been experiencing some severe lack of inspiration, but today, in alignment with some events that have occurred, I do actually feel inspired to send a message out. And so, similar to my last video, I'm just going to talk as myself for as soon as this being asked me to channel for them, all sorts of messages started coming through. So I wrote them down on this piece of paper, and I'm going to be going through the different topics and how they related. And so today's video is dedicated to my Aunt Tara. Last night, her car was stolen out of her driveway. And I don't know about you guys, I leave my car unlocked with the key fob in it all the time. I have a lot of trust in the universe, and I know that she does too. And so I'm sure that it was really unsettling for her this morning when she woke up and her car, her new car, her nice car, was no longer there. So she asked me to channel a message, and before she even asked, I was already getting some information. And I think that this video, why I'm making it for YouTube and not just for my aunt, is also because I think this is what has happened to her is the microcosm of the macrocosm of the energies that are occurring right now, because some weird things have been happening in my life, in my family's life, and so let's just hop straight to it. So the first thing that I want to speak about today is the subject of the missing. Things going missing has been a theme lately in the energies. So my mom, her cat went missing for a month, about a month ago. Her favorite cat, our dear Luna girl, follows us around, acts like a dog, goes in and out all the time. One day just doesn't come back. Went home to try to find Luna. Luna showed herself to us. She sat under the car next to our house. And then when we tried to shake treats and get her to come to us, she ran away. So there's this theme of the missing. Obviously, my aunt's car went missing. And in my personal life, my boyfriend Greg, he just had a very freak accident where he was paddling a river and he stepped on a branch and the branch broke off into his foot. And he ended up having to go to the hospital and get surgery. And so right now he's in a phase of missing out on waves, missing out on activities he would normally do. And so there's a couple of things that come up with the idea of things going missing, whether they're physical items going missing or somehow you're being asked through a chronic illness or an injury to step back and miss out on life as it is. So when things go missing, something that happens is we are forced into a period of reflection. We have to look around at our environment. We have to look at ourselves. And what I noticed with my mom when Luna went missing is she started to really look at herself. The things that typically fill up the space or our time, they are gone. And so some of these things in our life, they're distractions from our inner world. So when things go missing, there's a forced reflection, one that the universe is always asking us to do, but because we live, busy lives, or we have, to drive our cars around, we have our cats to pet, and we have surfing and work and all these other activities to fill our time, the missingness, it forces a reflection. And this brings up a lot for me because as a kid, I was obsessed with shows where people went missing. And I've always felt like, wow, something going missing is about the worst thing that can ever happen, right? Especially when you don't know what happened to it. It creates this wide spectrum of possibility within the mind. You don't know what happened to Aunt Tara's car. You don't know where Luna went. And we don't know, how the waves are, I guess, in the case of Greg. And in the case of people who have had children or families go missing, there's this openness to possibility. We are often in the brain set where we know what is going to happen. this is going to happen. I'm going to go to work tomorrow. My car is going to the mechanic. My cat is going to go outside and play and come inside. So when things go missing, it opens up actually a realm of potentials that wasn't there before. And it asks each and every one of us to consider alternative possibilities. So this forced reflection is actually a huge gift. Now, it's not fun, and we always need to grieve our human emotions. As humans, we're attached to things and people and activities and work that fill us up with joy and provide us comfort and ways to get from here and there. But at this time, this season of big changes that occurs every fall, but this fall seems to be quite poignant, quite heavy, this forced reflection is really important. So if something is missing in your life, this is a great chance to look within yourself and start to understand, what is the symbolic meaning? What do these things represent to me? Or what is it about my energy that could have contributed to this situation? Now remember, we're saying that knowing that when things go missing, it is a gift. Don't forget, everything is always happening in our highest and best good. So if something is going missing, there's a forced reflection. And for that temporary time where that thing is missing, that is the universe saying to you and to me, for right now, your inner reflection is going to serve your highest good much greater than that thing. While it is very therapeutic to pet a cat, and it's very therapeutic to go surfing, and it's very therapeutic to have a nice car to drive around, in these moments right now, the time and space is being created for that reflection. This also steps into something I talked about in one of my last videos about how the universe is helping us to transition from 3D to 5D by helping us to release idols that we've had. The 3D idols, some of these which have been good, they have been the ways we've spent our time. They have been the ways that have filled us up, provided us things we needed, energies we needed on the 3D level. But now, as we are moving up into 5D, a lot of things that served us in 3D are no longer as important. And so they've served their purpose, and sometimes we attach to things, right? We attach to identities. We attach to things. We attach to people. I lost my dad 5 years ago about that. Forced me into a huge period of self-reflection, a huge period of looking at my beliefs. And of course, I'd rather have my dad on this planet. You could ask anyone. My dad is just about one of the most amazing guys I ever knew, whether he was my dad or not. When something goes away, goes missing, goes to a different form of reality, these reflections have to come, and it helps us to release these idols. My dad had I would say there was idolatry in my dad in that he did a lot for me. He fixed everything, and I had to release that and come more into my own empowerment. And so that is also part of this, getting for ourselves, filling ourselves up in the ways that we would normally get from the things that go missing, right? If petting your cat is how you felt calm or felt company or felt, I guess company, I like that word. Now, how can you feel fulfilled? How can you feel surrounded by energy or love without that cat being there? Or how can you move about your day without your transportation? What is this helping you to see that you didn't see before? That by having this car, this cat, this surfing and work, this father, how is that going away, helping you to empower yourself to bring those energies in so that you're more whole and complete, and so that nothing in the 3D you're super attached to, because it's going to be hard. These things were so useful to us in the 3D. When I was full on in 3D, I would have not been able to function without my father. He allowed me to do so much. But that was a big part of me moving on into the next evolutionary phase of my life. And so if something's going missing right now, there is an idolatry there that there's nothing wrong with idolatry. The light just flashed. That was awesome. There's nothing wrong with idolatry. While we're in this 3D existence, it's actually really important to feel connected, to feel life in the things we have, and to love them fully in each moment. And then also be in love with the moments when they're not there, and know that that's because there is something greater coming. So I hope that made sense. And a lot of this is happening, and this goes on to my next topic that came through, the images. I'm telling you the images that I'm getting in my mind. And sometimes just speaking in this form is a little bit easier for me than trans channeling, because I can focus a bit more and move from topic to topic. It's just how my mind works. So there are these holes right now in the time space continuum. I have written down the time warp energy. Not sure exactly what that means, but there's holes in the time warp energy. So I imagine, as I see it, time is like this tunnel. If you ever see people who, like, in a show make transport through a time tunnel or something, right? And it's like this circle, and there's like all these energies around it, and they're going through like any kind of time travel. So right now, these cylinders, there's breaks in them, and these holes are perceived as losses, of course, but they're actually accelerators, because 3D was meant to go on infinitely as long as our consciousnesses wanted to be here. But we've set our intention for our consciousnesses to move up. And so inevitably, these structures that hold the time-space reality in their form as our perception, they are starting to break down. And so there's holes. And these holes can both cause things to go missing, but it also creates so much possibility. There is so much intention setting that will be powerful right now. There is so much owning consciousness. Another flash of light. Thank you, universe. And these portals are really starting to open up. And so while there are like some bad things that are going to be occurring, there's also a lot of good. There's so much good. So for example, with Greg's foot, we've had so many gifts from his foot. And I would say going to the hospital has been one of my worst. And we have discovered so much beauty in that experience. We found out that there are many beautiful ways that the universe provides abundance for people who are not always having health insurance or can't afford it. We are finding out that there's a lot of loving people within the system, which I already knew that. We're also getting so much support from our community. One thing that I noticed with my boyfriend Greg is that he always had trouble accepting help from me, accepting help from the community. He gives so much, but he doesn't receive. And so part of this lesson for him is receiving. And so there's kind of been a hole or a portal that opened up. He could have stayed in his 3D realm. He could have continued on the path where he provided everything for himself. But now, because of this injury, which seems bad, he is learning to receive. And from a place of receiving, he's going to be able to give even more. And so similar to with my Aunt Tara and her car going missing, this is going to be a really big opportunity for her to receive, to see what the benefits are. Because there are, and this sort of leads to the next thing, there are a lot of structures in place, the 3D structures, which have seemed from afar to be extremely unloving. And yet there are ways for us to work with this system as we are transitioning, as it is transitioning, to capitalize on the benefits without giving so much of our time and energy to it. So for example, with the car going missing, one download I got right away, well, one, people are struggling financially right now. There's a lot of perception of struggle in the financial realm. Housing market is really high. Food is really expensive. It just seems like life has gotten much more expensive. So a lot of people are really struggling. And so one, it's feeling like to me that the insurance process that my Aunt Tara is going to go through, she's going to get another car, another great car. And then at the same time, someone who is really suffering, who is really, their mind is really so feeling lack of abundance that they felt the need to steal a car, they're going to get a car too. And so, of course, we don't want to fraud insurance companies. I would never say to do that. But my Aunt Tara, by having that trust and leaving her key in her car, she is actually opening up so much abundance in that she's now able to provide a car for someone who needs it and one for herself, and she's not going to have to pay a dime. And remember this too, as we're experiencing these freak accidents and events and missing things and people and all sorts of stuff, we need to remember that our thoughts in these periods, especially right after an event, are so important because we are actually crafting part of the reality. Now, some of it is coming from the unconscious, the subconscious, and the collective conscious, but we do get to have a say in how these things turn out. Me and my friend Jamie have been talking a lot about how for so many years, and even our whole lives, we've kind of been like these shapeshifters. We can mold to any environment. It's one of our gifts, but it's also something that isn't so good for us because when we're always molding to the environments of others, we're not creating from our own place. After I lost my dad, there was seriously about 5 years where I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't want to work in the hospital, and I knew I wanted to pursue alternative healing, and that's really it. I like to surf. I like to do things, but there was nothing that was really filling me up with joy or making me feel super happy. And I've heard a lot of channelers and spiritual people talk about how before these really big things happen to them, they go into these long periods of nothingness, of emptiness. And I think sometimes that empty space can be quite intimidating. I know for me, I've been trained always to be productive. And I'm an overachiever through my own internal nature and the conditioning nature that I was brought up in competitive sports in high school and college and all these things. But this empty space is so important. This time of self-reflection, of missingness, it's so important. And I just want to emphasize that so much. So anyway, one of the experiences I've had in my life is that I've never really owned pets. These cats that my mom have are the closest things to pets I've owned. So for years now, when I see a dog, I say, oh, sit, oh, come here, oh, and I'm very gentle, and I've just never really known how to train dogs. That's something that I, didn't know. And even when I would practice riding horses with my uncle, he'd be like, you have to be in charge. They need to know you're in charge. And for so long, I'm like, no, I don't want to impede on their free will. They're beings too, and they have free will, and I trust their free will. But what I'm learning is that dogs and horses are teaching me how to be a much more powerful creator. Because when I go to the universe and I say, oh, and me and Jamie both do this, oh, whatever's happening for the highest good of all, that's what I want. I'm not stepping into my role of creation. We're here on this plane. I wake up in this body every day without being too attached. What do I want to create? And I haven't known for a long time. And just recently am I starting to feel motivated and creative in what I want. Now I'm like, how do I ask for it? Because for so long, whatever's in the highest good, right? Whatever's in the highest good. And this is good. This is a practice in non-attachment, but practices come and go for different periods of life. And so what these dogs are teaching us, and Greg was helping us with this, Jamie has her sister's dog and brought her over. And when me and Jamie were hanging out with Millie, the dog, it just kept barking at us. We'd play with it, but it didn't listen. And it would listen sometimes, then other times not. It just kept barking. And we were like, I don't know what to do with this. And then I said, Jamie, you got to bring the dog over to my house to see Greg because, he can't go to her house. He's on a scooter right now. And brings the dog over. And Greg has this dog doing whatever he wants it to do. Seriously, whatever he wants it to do. And we're like, how are you doing that? And he's like, you guys say sit and stay and all this stuff. You don't mean it. You have to mean it. And you have to be really clear with the dog. One time, Jamie was holding the toy up here and was saying, sit, sit. And the dog wasn't listening. And Jamie's like, why isn't it listening? And Greg was like, well, you're saying with your arm that you're going to throw the toy. And you're saying with your mouth that you're asking him to sit. You're giving conflicting messages. And so what I'm learning from dogs is that I need to be so clear, not just in my words, but in my bodily physical alignment about what I want. And I need to be communicating that message consistently to the universe in order to manifest, in order to create. So as I'm sitting at these Phillies games and I am saying to the universe, lights flashing again, I'm saying I am a powerful creator. I'm not saying whatever happens for the Phillies and the highest good. I'm saying I am a powerful creator. And in my reality, the Phillies win. Because that's fun for me. Because that's what I want right now. Because that's what I feel inspired to manifest truly. For fun. Truly for the pure enjoyment. Not because I'll receive a ring or there's nothing except for the fun of it. And so it's amazing how every situation, which you could think are totally unrelated, right? Me going to a Phillies game and me not knowing how to tell a dog what to do and really create that bond with it, it's all connected. So these smaller situations of a car going missing, of this, Luna going missing, the cat, of getting a branch stuck in your foot, I'll post whatever, it's all connected. And this is the message I feel inspired to share, is what's been going on with me. And I'm going to continue to put that vision out and continue to tell the universe that's what I want, with my actions, with my words, and with my thoughts. And we'll see what happens. I'm very excited because these holes in the portal, a lot of weird things are happening, but at the same time, there's opportunity for a lot of good. These eclipses, they're the holes. They're blocking out the sun. I forget how they work, but there's like a blocking that's happening, which creates an opening where maybe something that was more physical and substantial is now flickering. And that's how I see Aunt Tara's car flickering. And that's how I saw Luna flickering. She flickered in to let us know she's okay, and then flickered out because I do actually think she was traveling across dimensions while she was gone. And even with Greg's foot, freak accident. Freak. But that just shows you that the universe is looking out for you. So these bad things, they are good. Know that. Trust that. And if you are having any doubts, schedule a session with me and I will help you to see how your situation is serving you, because I do think that's part of my gift here on this planet. So thank you so much for listening to this video about the eclipses energies, the holes in the time warp continuum, missing things, and all the benefits that are coming, and learning how to incorporate these systems into our livelihoods, using them for what they're good, being fair and equitable to all, and creating a better reality for the entire universe just by uplifting your vibration, allowing emptiness when it's supposed to be there, and then feeling the fun of inspiration when it finally does come again, and knowing that whatever you're going through right now, it is serving you, and practicing that trust, releasing the human emotions, allowing them to come up, but then practicing the trust that whatever is happening, whatever feelings you're experiencing, lack of inspiration or otherwise, it's because so many good things are coming. I love you all so much. I'm going to edit this video and post it right away. Thank you, Aunt Tara, and all the beings in my life for the inspiration. Thank you, universe, guides, and teachers. And the magical weaving of life is happening. And this time is allowing for a lot of possibility. So I hope that you will share with me what you are creating, what you are experiencing or not experiencing. I'd like to hear in the comments so I know that I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. I know you're all experiencing this, but maybe this video will help shape it and congeal this reality more fully than the ones that have been structured beforehand. Okay, I love you all so much. Have a great day. Bye. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching that video. As I was editing it, I realized that I went on a couple of really long tangents that didn't quite make sense. And so I decided to edit those tangents out and put them in a separate video, which will be the next one that I post very soon. So in this video, I talked about holes in the time warp continuum as opportunities. Part of the reason why things are going missing, why my aunt's car went missing, why Luna went missing, why freak accidents are happening, and stepping into being a powerful creator. So my next video is going to be all about that, with specific catering to the stories that I've been experiencing during the Phillies games I've gone to this season. The next video that I post is going to be all about holes in the time warp continuum that I am personally experiencing and witnessing. And I've been seeing a lot of things happening at the Phillies games that I've attended. Right now, I am 4 for 4 with attending really awesome, fun Phillies games, and I get to I get to speak to that a bit in the next video, and also a really cool experience that I got to watch and that my sister got to be a part of. And I think you'll really enjoy that. So thank you for watching this video, and I just want to take a moment to ask you all to send some love and light and healing to my Aunt Tara. I know that she and her family knows that all this is happening in the highest good, but it's always disturbing and unsettling when something that is within your vortex just goes missing, as I talked about earlier in the video. So if you could send her some love, some light, and some knowing that this is all happening and that she is highly supported by the universe and this community, I'd appreciate that so much. Love you all. Good night.